this footage before, but we hadn't heard of this particular location before. Honestly, if you had asked me to wager on Florianopolis, whatever it is, being a place, I'd have taken the under.
It does sound like something out of a movie, but Florianopolis is real. The Costal de Santino Resort in Florianopolis is where this event was played. The Latin American Poker Tour was there from the 5th to the 8th of August. The main event was a $2,700 buy-in. There were 364 entries, and this is long before the era of rebuys, so that's 364 unique players, generating a prize pool of $924,080. 48 players are going to get paid. Now, in recent weeks, we've been joining the action where we're down to the last 2 or 3 tables. We're already into the money. It's the race to the final table. However, we have got multi-day coverage here. I think we have got, I'm not going to put the world famous on the front of it, but we have got bubble coverage coming up. We're going to see them play into the money. Apparently, players were paid out in local currency, so the payouts we're talking about are rough translations. The first prize in this event, roughly $250,000 US. And over the last few weeks, we have seen many of the same faces. Now, many of them are named players, PokerStars pros of the era, like Leo Fernandez, Aniel Guillen. And of course, the big story has been the back-to-back victories of Jose Nacho Barbero. And it'll be interesting to see if we see any other returning players, both this week and next week.
Yeah, look, again, I mentioned this before. I remember this era of poker, or at least right after this, Nacho having not just one and not just two, but multiple wins on various tours. I don't know if this is about to be the third one. I don't know if his third one ends up on the LAPT at all, but I wouldn't at all be surprised if we saw another win here from Nacho.
Well, let's see who we do have in action today. And we start with a graphic brought to you by CFAX. Seat assignments at the featured table, this would seem. And Aniel Guillen is in action.
Okay.
Along with Stefano Vega Lopez. Norbert Ludger's back.
Norbert.
Luis Neto. Ricardo Goncalves, who I'm pretty sure used to be called Ricardo Neto. He's changed his name. Christian Diaz. Gonzalo Dialzaga. Juan Carlos Bergios. And there is Aniel Guillen, who at the time represented Team Pro. And Majid Trad. Quite a few online qualifiers in this, Joe. Blinds, 500, 1,000.
Majid Trad. What a name that is.
And Lopez. Vega Lopez. Bets a cheese sandwich with pocket jacks. I like it. Little bit of yellow in the middle. It's a cheese sandwich. Oh dear. Ace King comes over the top of the cheese sandwich. Ludger all in for just over 14K.
And pretty much just a formality at this point, right? Looking at your cards, unless you wake up with aces or kings. Let these two flip. What about you, Majid Trad?
Tiene blackjack la casa. 20. Quiere un profesional. Puedo preguntarle a Ángel, ¿no? Ahí pago. Pecó.
Yeah, it's for like 14 big blinds. Let's get on with this.
Let's go. LFG, as they say.
First flip of the day. Ace King against Jacks. Ace King at risk.
Red Dead Redemption versus Mass Effect 2. We know which one has the slight edge there.
Jack,
oh,
high, flop.
Very much looking forward to the random subtitles, just every once in a while.
I cannot confirm whether they are accurate.
Well, Why do they take so long as a common theme throughout? Although at this point, when you flop the set of jacks, what are you worried about?
Oh, bye Norbert. Barry Greenstein.
Norbert, it's still one of my... Not enough.
Consequential. So it turns out Jack's a Red Dead Redemption then, Joe.
That'll do it. I would absolutely go for that.
Ricardo Albimo Goncalves.
Do you think
Calls
that
with
maybe...
the sailboats.
Do you think that maybe one of the reasons why the graphics package from this part of the world isn't quite as good as they just had to spend all of it on all of like the middle and last names that these people have?
Christian Diaz opening, raising rather with sevens.
We just don't have the resolution. The names are too long. They're too long.
What does this guy's hat say? The toaster?
Rooster. The duster, I think, actually.
Hold on a sec. Didn't this guy just have jacks on the last hand?
Yep. If he was that stressed out before, what about now with a raised call? If only he knew what a dominating position he's in.
So he calls the raise from Diaz, and Goncalves, who limped with fours, calls as well, and we are going three-way to the flop. Oh, the Stephen Thompson. What the hell is he on about? Oh, set of fours alert.
Oh, man. I guess it's too much to ask to win 2 hands in a row with jacks, right? James, I know this is controversial, but like I'm fine with the translation amount. We're getting good information. There's a rookie in danger.
Eyes not a joke anymore.
All right, okay. I spoke too soon.
So Lopez leading with jacks, gets raised by Goncalves with the set.
I mean, this is just a horrific spot with jacks, right? So few hands that are value raising you. Not a ton of like semi-bluff hands that should be raising you either, right? Like maybe 2 overs and a flush draw.
Oh, wow. Puts Goncalves all in, calls it off with the set, and Vega Lopez drawing very thin here.
Yeah, I guess you just take the mystery out of it by going all in, get the cards on their backs, but unfortunately...
Oh, wobble.
I couldn't tell if that was my computer or the camera. LAPT is jack, right?
Vai, vamos segurar aí, vai. Uma dobradinha agora vai bem.
Vamos.
Isso.
Vamos, espada, vamos, espada.
A sword.
Espadinha, espadinha.
Come on, a 3. No surprises.
Don't forget, Diaz folded sevens.
No, no tres, no tres, no, no.
Oh, the sword, that means a spade. I got it. I got it now.
No spade, no jack, set of fours holds, and that is going to be a double up.
Wow, geez. Hairy finish, man. Harsh words in chat. Peak 2010 poker, almost every player plays every street wrong. I think they played the flop, turn, and river fine. Certainly the turn and river.
Unsure how many players remain at this point. We're not yet in the money. So when players are eliminated, we don't know their finishing positions. What on earth? What was all that about? Why did he grab him?
Please tell me we're going to see more of that.
So Gonzalo de Alzaga has opened with ace-king, raised to 2,100. And folded around to the blinds. Luis Neto has ace, queen of diamonds.
Nice to see a Brazilian player in the mix, even if he has dominated. Uh-oh. Not gonna end well for Neto most of the time.
Realizes it's not very much, slings in the extra, and here we go. Domination Nation in Dialzaga's favor.
We're suited. Neto's got that going for him.
Something just got smashed.
Diamante para nosotros. Vamos para Perú. Vamos para Perú.
I love the way that the subtitling of the table chat is so random.
Yeah.
So, come on Peru was worth subtitling. Everything that was set up to that point, not.
Who knows? Maybe it wasn't. I'm just going to take their word for it, or lack of word for it.
Oh, Peru.
I believe this is about to be a Neto negative.
Yeah, that is a KO.
I'm loving the Peruvian pride. We don't get that all that often on the European Poker Tour, James.
Well, there aren't many Peruvian players on the EPT.
Correct. It's not that we hate Peru.
So these are the stacks of the players we're watching at the feature table right now. Ricardo Goncalves has the biggest stack. Aniel Guillen is also playing deep. Blind still 500 and 1,000, so no players in the danger zone at this FT.
Danger zone.
And Aniel starting the action here with a raise to 2,100. 8-7 of diamonds. Deuces for the Rooster. Majid Trad.
I'm sorry I said Rooster. I'm pretty sure his head says Duster. Which is actually kind of a fun nickname for a player of the era. I don't know if you ever used to use this when James would be like, I dusted off 500 last night.
No,
nope.
It says
what
the
is
monster.
It? The monster. Damn it, that's even worse. It's worse than all of them.
Oh well, the thing is to strike. I pay. This tastes like lettuce.
There's no way he said that. There's just absolutely no chance. Like, I would be willing to bet any amount of money that's not like the actual translation. Maybe the literal translation. There's just no effing way that that's what he said. Combo Zom says, big lettuce guy. Like, there's just no shot. There's got to be some kind of idiomatic expression, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways to this flop. Here we go. Pick me, dealer.
Gonna say that Google Translate was even less accurate back in 2010.
You think that's how they were doing this? Who's gonna know, right? They're just like, no, that's what it says.
So Jack 5-3, Bergios with the best hand, right? Pair of jacks, queen kicker.
Yeah, and I know why you said right, because when is Queen Jack ever the best hand when you go to the flop 5 ways? Like, this is one for the books, guys. And we saw Aniel pull some maneuvers over the last couple of episodes, and it looks like we're going to see Aniel put in on a bit of a show here now with 8 high, 1 diamond. And
raises to 7,000. Gets folds from everyone else. Action back on Bergios, who led out with the Queen Jack.
A good kick. Might have meant kicker. Might have meant, and that's it. It's over. I mean, this is one of the things I like best about doing these retro shows, is that it's kind of cool to see the people like pulling funky moves are like still in the game today, are like the one person from this table that's like still in AM poker just somehow got top pair to lay down.
I mean, that's absurd. makes the move, gets away with it, and it wasn't even a long decision for Bergios, and it didn't look like any time had been edited out there. It just quickly folded, even though, as he said himself, he had a good kick.
This is back when people used to say things like, don't go broke with one pair.
Well, Bergios has a pair, fours, he's raised. Aniel Guillen has the rockets and just calls with aces.
Voy jalando esa fiesta. Venezuela versus México.
6-5 suited.
¿De llevar palo o de qué?
Calva's calling out of the small blind.
Se metió Brasil.
I mean, that's like one of those pieces of trivia that we all know, right? 6-5 suited, that's the ace crack in hand.
Oh, yeah. Looks like Diaz has folded the big, so we're going three-way to this flop. And we get there eventually. Queen, Jack 5 with 2 diamonds.
All right, take it easy. I wonder what the, like, how many years the most experienced poker dealer in Brazil, like, how much experience could they possibly have at this point? I got a bet here, 5,100, bottom pair, 1 spade. Aniel's done like a pretty good job of like making it pretty pricey to call here, realizing that people are going to catch a decent piece of this a lot of the time. Not as much as you would think in this particular hand. Just going to get 2 quick folds.
No, 4, le quitará ahí para el tico ahí para que llegue.
Un maní menos era.
Pero si cae el cuatrico, ay, mi hermano. Si cayó el 5, cae el 4, estuvo cerquita.
Oh, yeah, because 5's only like 1 higher than 4, so it could easily have been a 4 on the flop, and then he would have had a set.
Actually, I totally understand what that guy was saying.
So here we go. Mostly Brazilian players at this feature table right now. A new feature table, a new lineup with the blinds at 600, 1,200.
Uh-oh, I saw a familiar face there.
Leo Fernandez, he's for people like you. Amazing.
Amazing.
Ricardo Milani, Jack 8 of clubs. Raises. I'm loving this guy's look, by the way.
Same.
Valdir Guerra, ace 5 offsuit, calls. Yes, Dim Mac Daddy. Milani is a young Dr. Disrespect.
Yeah, he is. That's fantastic. All he needs is what, the lab coat? Is that what Dr. Disrespect wears, like a white coat?
No. Doesn't actually dress as a doctor.
Oh, my bad. I must be thinking of the actual Dr. Disrespect. Uncle Jonesy wants to know, why is the lighting so bad in early events like this? Actually, I kind of like that the lighting is distinct for the time. You know, when I was working on the card counter, I was trying to get them to mimic this sort of set, because I kind of thought it fit in well with the director's whole vibe from the last movie he did.
I'm just going to say, Joe, I wouldn't be encouraging anyone to make their movies look like this event.
I just kind of like the whole, I don't think you saw First Reformed, but there's like a lot of like sort of ethereal is this reality or is it not kind of stuff happening. And I thought that the sort of starry backgrounds here kind of fit well with that.
No. Bingo.
Milani shows up and just gets the job done with Jack High. You know, it works really well when you're up against a 5, but anything else, look out.
Yeah, very big.
And you people are great hosts.
Big casino.
Yeah?
Very big.
That's dangerous.
Ah,
No,
yeah.
I hear it's the biggest casino in America.
Yeah. It's
Really?
new one.
Really?
I didn't know. Oh, that's
Snowman's num num.
My concern is that I will.
How do you say nom nom in Portuguese?
Num num.
The hotel name is
Got it.
Pullman in the casino.
It is Luis Herrera who's opened here
38 rooms.
with pocket 8s.
Okay, but maybe one for you.
No, yeah, but
how they
look,
gonna do
there's
with that?
almost 400 players here,
I
almost 400 in Peru.
Yeah, but so many hotels close to
Okay.
casino.
Folded around to Fernandez, who's got a 6 of diamonds.
This feels a little Fernandez-y. And remember, we've seen a lot of Leo in the cash games splashing around, a little bit different. But in the big blind, a6 suited, feels like no matter what era of poker you're playing in, you can see a flop here.
Makes the call.
Not much of a poker face, was it?
And it is a
Oh,
6-6
man.
deuce flop. The overpair for Herrera, trips for Fernandez.
And by the way, James, as this was 2010, this officially qualifies as a big blind special.
Then it's the most outspoken poker player.
Really quite unfortunate. I mean, the good news is, I mean, there's not really a lot of good news. You got to overpair here. It kind of sucks. Thinking about things in, like, you know, today's lens, there are quite a few 6s in the big blinds defending range. Don't really think that's going to prove any consolation. Don't think that would make me feel any better if I had the 8s in this situation. Be like, well, he's going to have a lot of 5-6s and a lot of 6-7s. 6-8's probably going to be in there. All the suited 6s. A6 suited, obviously. At least there's no overcard now.
Oh! Herrera
Yeah.
shoves the turn, gets snap called.
More like his error.
And requires an 8 on the river to survive. Oh, I shouldn't have done that.
He does look very regretful. And I don't like that. That actually upsets me to see.
No cash for Luis Herrera, eliminated from this LAPT Florianopolis main event played in Brazil in August of 2010.
Doesn't Florianopolis sound like it should be guarded by giant robots?
Yes, it should be a city in the sky, like from a Miyazaki movie.
Yeah, exactly. Adios, Sky Captain. You know, we've seen a lot of walk-offs in our day, and that was one of the saddest ones, in my opinion.
Se fue, no.
Él no se fue, lo fueron.
The blue guy with the sunglasses reminds me of an actor, but I can't remember his name, says Elu. This blue guy with the sunglasses? I mean, they all look blue in this lighting. Is he talking about Cracker? Guy looks a little like Cracker.
So here we have Guillaume Tomé with jacks opening to 3,000.
You're so nice the way you make everyone's last name sound cool. I just went like Thome. Guillermo Thome.
A6 suited again for Leo Fernandez on the button.
You gotta put. You just busted a guy. You're on the button. This is 2010 when you could play. No, that's so disappointing. I guess it might have been many hands apart in real life.
This is ace 9 for Ricardo Milani.
This blue guy with the sunglasses, Elu?
Isso, o casaco e o boné.
What actor is it? Let's do a bad look-alike for everyone while we're at it.
I think he's trying to be Michael Imperioli being Stu Unger.
Oh, wow. Was that movie even a thing at this point?
Yes. Tomei calls the 3-bet, and these two go to the flop. Ace,
Already.
queen, 3. Always an ace on the desk, always.
Yeah, you're not loving jacks already after the extra bet goes in pre-flop. 2 overs. I mean, you've got the jack of hearts in your hand, but this is pretty much just a complete, not a complete whiff, but a complete woof. Oh, no. No, 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 no. That 10 is going to be, looks like just enough to keep Thome drawing.
Milani leading turn for 6,500. Tomei with a decision, does not have a big stack. Makes the call.
That looked like a huge portion of Thome's stack. Ooh,
And he
look at that.
gets there. It's the straight on the river.
So sick. I mean, I like the justice for the jacks. Little JJ, Jack Justice.
He has a swear
But
on his
come on.
sunglasses. Did you see that?
No, I missed it. Look at Thome. Look, all of a sudden, right? The body language changes. He's more interested.
Look.
He's leaning in.
Rude.
Suck? Is that what it said?
No, replace the first letter with an F.
Oh.
I know. Unacceptable.
This is 3 aces or 3 queens. We'll see it on TV.
Oh, he looks, it could be an Andy Samberg character.
See it on TV.
I like how in the UK the F word is just rude, and in the United States of America you just like go to jail. You said the F word on TV? It's the worst thing anyone's ever done, ever.
Your country has some really weird ideas of what's socially acceptable and what isn't socially acceptable.
Like getting shot a million times is like fine, but like saying a swear word, people are very upset with you.
Come on, Joe. I know you're delighted now that you can legally go out and purchase an assault rifle 15.
You know I'm a big fan of that brand and that model.
I wager 2,500 chips.
Oh my god, this dude's name is Wager. How did he not become the next Chris Moneymaker? Probably because he plays 6-2 suited.
King 10
Spade
5 with 2 spades.
This feels like the kind of situation like Leo Fernandez just runs too hot in life. The Nuna noticing Leo looks so bored. In playing some live poker this week, James, we can watch for it here. I had one of my favorite live poker things happen to me. I was playing in a tournament yesterday, and the flop came down, and the dude looked a lot like Wager here. Gave me the big sigh. He did the big sigh and then bet, and I was like, nope. Like you just, I don't care what hand I have, what draw I have. I'm like, I'm out. I'm done. He's like, bet.
Calls 3,700. Has the straight draw,
gotcha.
has the flush draw, has 27% equity, and bricks the river.
Is that a straight? No, 4, 5, 6, 7. That should be something.
Fernandez checks. Are you going to wager? Wager. Oh, look at those shaky hands as Wager wagers all of his chips.
I feel bad. I feel bad about that. If it's that obvious to us, it's got to be somewhat obvious to Leo. This is still a pretty tough call with just a second pair. This is just such a bad spot for a bluff, IMHO. Like, just not having enough to fire river. I guess it's a full pot bet on the river. All right. Leo's... No. This feels so bad when you get called by second pair here. I mean, the good news is that you're out of the tournament if you get called. The bad news is it's just so demoralizing.
Well, there's your answer, Joe. That's why this guy did not become the South American Chris Moneymaker.
Yeah. I'll wager it was because he did not make the final table.
Draw, straight draw. Spades, 3.
Yep, no, go ahead and make a spectacle of it. This is not really a... Let's go. Next hand.
And now the blinds at 800, 1600. That was strange. Queen Jack suited for Fernandez.
Comes the open.
Raises to 4,100.
Please let this be a raise and take it. I would love that.
Queen Jack of strawberries for Ronnie Molchansky.
The only thing I would like better than a raise and take it would be a get it all in pre-flop and run out a chop pot. Neither one of those things going to happen.
Yeah, Molchansky just calling on the button, heads up to the flop. Well, Fernandez free rolling now.
Free rolling, but you know, this is the kind of hand that's going to take, you got to play some poker. It's pretty rare it's going to just go check, 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 showdown, chop. Uh-oh, so far, that is what's happening. Really free rolling now. James, when you said he's free rolling diamonds with one diamond on the flop, I was like, come on, get real. But now it is real.
Yeah, plus the straight draw as well. Plus, he's Leo Fernandez.
I don't know what you can really do here other than call.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes when your opponent fires an ace on the turn, it's going to be a bluff, but...
I think what will be interesting here, Joe, is if effectively they both miss the river, which is exactly what happens. And Molchansky, having bet the turn, if he can bet now on the river, might be able to push Fernandez off this chop.
It's just so hard to bet again. Oh, good for you.
Immediately goes for it. 12,000.
I mean, this is an impossible call with queen high, right? Bet turn, bet river, well played.
Ronnie Molchansky takes that pot off Leo Fernandez.
Flush draw. Pago pro flush. Fica assim que você tava perdendo. Não fica com essa cara que você estava perdendo.
Leo, uncharacteristically quiet.
So Ronnie Molchansky is the chip leader at the feature table, 115,000. Fernandez, still a decent stack. A couple of shorties, Buffoni and Milani, 12K, 11K respectively, as they continue to play into the money and beyond at the Florianopolis leg of Season 3 of the Latin American Poker Tour. That's the event we're revisiting today. It is from August of 2010, 11 years ago this summer. Joe, being a Thursday, not only do we bring people a retro stream, there is always a new podcast on a Thursday, at least until we take our summer break. Why don't you tell everyone who is the guest on this week's show?
This week's guest is a very talented, very funny human being named Kim Caramelli. She is a comedy writer, a producer, has written for a bunch of TV shows, namely Inside Amy Schumer was a big one, one that most people have heard of before. Kim is a good friend of mine, came on the show this week. It was, James, I know that, you know, we there's different things to like about all of the interviews we do. And what I liked about this one is it felt like a really nice, free-flowing conversation, just like, you know, folks getting to know each other. I really loved hearing her story about how she sort of got to be where she is as someone who is a comedy fan myself, and someone who is pretty envious of people who get to write comedy, pure comedy, for a living. So it was a really fun talk with her. And I feel like you kind of were in the same boat as me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a really fun conversation, another really fun episode. So check out the Poker in the Ears podcast, available on all audio podcast platforms right now. And there will be a video version of that interview with Kim Caramelli available on the PokerStars YouTube channel this weekend. Okay, back to our retro coverage of this event from the LAPT in 2010. I do like the fact that in these mid stages of this $2,700 main event, the producers are clearly keen to showcase as many players as possible. Obviously following the progress of the Team PokerStars pros in the field, but it does mean we get to see a wide variety of players as the tables reduce, as we get towards the money, and as we get ever closer to the final table. So let's see who we've got on the main stage now. David Bortnick. Aniel Guillen is obviously the star of the show right now, representing Mexico, representing Team Pro. Bortnick's an online qualifier. Marcus Nebrega brought in directly. Wallacey Marcel plays on PokerStars. Good for him. There's Aniel Guillen. George Martins. Homero Ribeiro. And Gerald Ponce. Oh, and Gustavo Robles. Managed to squeeze in just one more.
So many superstars.
So we start with an all-in, and it is Martins. George Martins, not to be confused with George Martin, the Beatles producer.
What about the Game of Thrones guy?
Oh, with all the R's, George Martin. Aniel Guillen calling in the small blind. This is a very, very small shove. The blinds are 1,000, 2,000, and the all-ins for less than 5K.
All of the Martins. All of the chips.
have a Jack 5 deuce flop, and it's domination rotation. Guillen with the advantage now.
It's just so curious to me watching this like back in time and just being like, does Aniel Guillen become a thing if he doesn't hit this 5 here? Isn't it weird, right? Like the butterfly effect?
Gotta call, man. You want me to call, right? It's not over.
Oh, there was the queen for the other guy.
Sorry, other guy. That's what you're known as at the moment. Other guy.
It was Hoyos who was in with Queen 9, but it is King 5 that holds. King 9's eliminated. Goodbye, George Martins, not to be confused with the composer-producer George Martin. Joe, Bond trivia. For which 007 movie did George Martin compose the score?
On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Think about it. There is a connection.
George Martin.
What is George Martin? Which band is George Martin famous for producing?
You just mentioned the Beatles.
Correct.
And then the Beatles. Oh, the James Bond movie that George Martin did the music for was Across the Universe.
Bortnick has opened with Ace Jack. Guillen has Ace King.
I'm trying to think if there's of a Beatles connection to a James Bond movie.
There is a very strong Beatles connection to a Bond song.
Let's see. I want to hold your hand. Not that one. Sergeant, wait. Did Bond ever encounter a Sergeant Pepper?
No. Oh. Think about who was in the Beatles. Bortnick has been called by Guillen, shoved on by Velasco Hoyos.
George Harrison, Ringo Starr, John Lennon, Paul McCartney.
There we go. You got your answer.
Oh, McCartney. Wait, Paul McCartney and the Wings, though, did one.
They did. They did the title song for
Live and Let Die. Thank you, Badge Sorrow.
And George Martin did the score for the movie.
That's one of my favorite ones.
It's a blaxploitation film that James Bond's accidentally walked into.
Yaphet Kotto.
He's
becoming a
great
theme.
So Guillen makes the call, and we're off to the races.
What sort of 2010 race can we cook up? How about the Book of Eli versus Salt? I can't believe it's been 11 years since Salt.
So far, so good for the Snowmans. Num num.
Nummy, nummy, num, num. I feel like Velasco Hoyos is someone that's come up later, but not by that name.
Okay, so Guillen can now hit an ace, king, or jack on the river. But it's a 3-8 hold, and that's a double up for Miguel Velasco Hoyos.
Don't you think that you would be, like just have more bravado in your life, James, if you went by like a long name like that? Mi nombre es Miguel Velasco Hoyos. Like you would just have so much more pride in who you are.
Blind to 1200, 2400.
Like James Hartigan, Joe Stapleton. It's just like labeling.
So if you see the turn,
it's a way to identify people, but Velasco Hoyos.
Maybe.
Well, we have got ace, king here for Homero Ribeiro.
Homero Ribeiro. Like it's just so much. It's like a storied history in every name.
So smiley in his avatar as well.
Hey, look at that. You can see his teeth from here.
So after you add, you have to call.
Raises to 5,300. And we have 7-6 offsuit for Marcus Nobrega.
Okay. 7-6 off from middle position.
And your favorite player, Miguel Velasco Hoyos, comes along from the big blind with Queen 10.
I do love that name.
And it is a Queen 10 deuce flop. Top 2 for Velasco Hoyos.
No brag, more like no pair, no draw.
Leads out 8,300.
Bad
Gut
look
shot
like
for Ribeiro.
Bad look like Anthony Bourdain. Not you. Him. This guy has no reservations about sticking around with a gut shot. Oh, raising.
All in
Right.
for Nobrega to call. Nope.
Yeah. Queen 10 never folding. Really stepped in it here.
Yeah.
Nice idea with the ace of diamonds and the gut shot, but nah.
And here is the problem, right? You make that raise, the all-in 52,200, you find yourself priced in. Doesn't want to make the call, but kind of has to.
I should have saved my no reservations joke for making the call, but I didn't know it was going to happen, guys.
Oh, and it's all over
Loaded.
on the turn. I'm guessing if Ribeiro thinks that aces, kings, and jacks alive, it plays slightly differently, but no.
Yeah, when you have the ace of diamonds, though, you have to wonder what sorts of hands your opponent is going to be willing to get it in with. But also, you know, just some weird sizing there that you're like you said, you're just kind of priced in
Yeah.
after making that raise.
The king was too little. It was a very little king.
So little. Tiny king.
So
What are you gonna
these are the seat assignments at our new feature table. Wow, we got to see what? 1, 2, 3 hands from that last lineup. And now we've got Francisco Azucar, Andres Chacon,
All right.
Ricardo Albimo Goncalves is back,
Sure.
Ulysses Sanchez, George Arias, Marcos Sanchez, Francisco Mezzatesta,
I like that name.
and Matthias Habenig.
Dude, I mean, does anyone here at this table have any shot whatsoever with Matthias Habernig at the table?
Matthias Habenig from Austria. Good luck, everyone.
Yeah, you guys are effed. Especially bucket hat patched up, dude. I think we've talked about this before. I don't know what the rule was for Latin America, but I remember in this era, if you were on a feature table and you could make a deal on the spot with a rep from a poker site, and you would just get like 5K straight up just for wearing a patch.
That only
on
happened
American
at the
TV.
World Series of Poker or the WPT. It never happened on one of these events.
It was so exciting. Just be like, I'm gonna be on the feature table. Like I'm just gonna make 5K. Now I just have to like pit full tilt and stars against each other.
Oh, someone's being put to the Mezzatesta. 9-4 versus 8-4. Why do I get the feeling that 8-4 is going to win?
The Mezzatesta sounds like something you would order in a Greek restaurant. It's like a sampler platter.
Habenig betting 12,200. So clearly we can see Mezzotesta has the best hand. Second pair, 99% equity, but I don't know. Something tells me he is going to get pushed off this pot. Maybe not on the flop, but probably on a later street. Oh,
Nope, on the flop.
does fold
Definitely
the
on
flop.
the flop. Yeah, nope.
Okay,
It's
then.
just this. I mean, this kid. Do you think he took a steamship all the way from Austria to just check it down, blind on blind?
Blinds are 1,500, 3,000. And Marcos Sanchez has ace-10.
The old dirty Sanchez.
They're getting closer to the money now, by the way. 48 players getting paid, and the field is in the 50s at the moment. Habenig.
Habenig, yeah, actually has a hand this time. It's the only way you're gonna get this guy, is to cooler him. Oh, well, these never loses.
Francisco Azucar calls as well. Habenig slow playing the kings, just flattered. And we've still got the blinds to act.
I mean, you're really happy if you can somehow squeeze a squeeze out of the blinds. I don't think it's gonna happen. Nah.
This guy just isn't patched. He's patched as a Team Online Pro, and I have no idea who he is.
Is it possible he just picked up a Team Online Pro badge off the floor? I've done it.
Meanwhile, top pair, top kicker for Sanchez. May think he's ahead here. Spoiler alert, he isn't. Kings,
Yeah, this is
66% favorite.
super bad spot. It's like a worse spot hitting the 10 here than hitting the ace. Obviously, because the ace would be beating kings, but there's something about pairing your kicker with your ace that just gets you into way more trouble. Habenig just exactly aware of where he's at in this hand, where Sanchez is at.
Started the hand with 140, 145.
Look at how those sunglasses just fit perfectly on his face, like they were custom made. It sounds like they would like make a suction cup noise when you take them off. Oh, now Habenig is actually a little confused, right? He's like, I don't think he ever gets away from kings here, but you do have to worry. You're like, oh, I thought I was value raising you. Now you're raising me back? Like, this shouldn't be a bluff. I'm not beating value bets.
I'm all in.
But you are. You are beating the value raise of ace 10.
It's
Yeah.
60, 90, 105.
Please, put it inside.
I think when you get shoved on by Habenig here, you just have to let this go.
78. 70. Yeah.
And Habenig's got like the whole table covered, right? This is all into call for Sanchez? No, it seems like...
Sanchez, appears to have plenty of chips. Oh, man.
No, Sanchez has Habenig covered, so the Austrian is at risk, but way ahead here. 4-1 favorite.
I don't know, like, what hands you think. Look, at the time, I guess sometimes ace-10 would be good, despite this insane amount of action on the flop. But I think we would not see many people calling it off in this spot.
Improves to top set on the turn. Sanchez drawing dead. That is going to be a double up for Habenig. And he's going to be among the overall chip leaders.
I mean, here's the silver lining. Best case scenario is they were doing that with 2 hearts and the heart hit the river, so you're going to lose no matter what. That's how I like to look at it.
Habenig now playing more than 300k. So confirmation that Jorge Arias was one of the original members of Team PokerStars Online when it was established back in 2009. Wow. There is a hashtag fun fact, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, if you think about it, all the Brazilians left in this tournament kind of resemble an online poker final table from today. I mean, not final table, I guess, but, you know, deep in a tournament, we'll say. Is it weird, James, that when you said that he's one of the original members of Team Online, that I'm just like, there was online poker back then?
There were 23 on the roster when it was first announced.
Total Team Pros, you mean, right? Not just online.
No, just online. There were 23 members of Team PokerStars Online when it launched in December 2009. And there are some names that on this list that I have never seen before, to be honest. But that's on me. It's not on them.
Here's a question that I should definitely know the answer to. Is there a distinction between Team Online and Team Pro now? Or is it all just one thing?
It's kind of merged now.
Okay.
There is, I believe, still a distinction, but it's, like, marginal.
And it's grandfathered in, right?
Yeah.
Well, question happening there. Do you have jacks again? Pretty good read. Faring about the same against jacks as against queens.
Once this hand's over, I'll give you a trivia question based on this list of online pros from 2009.
James, I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but this is definitely Stephen Paul Ambrose playing under a different name, right?
Well, what's weird is this guy has definitely featured in a previous LAPT event as Ricardo Neto. He's clearly got multiple names, and maybe Stephen Paul Ambrose is buried in there somewhere.
I mean, look, Stephen Paul Ambrose has 3 names. This guy has at least 4 names. Do you think there's going to be an ace on the desk?
No, but there is going to be a queen.
Queen in the door. This is so brutal. It can't come diamonds here, right? It can't go diamond.
Golds and golds.
No. I'm gonna call.
The diamond, but it's the queen of diamonds. It is hashtag death by quads for Goncalves.
More like gone home, Vez.
So that was victory for one of the original members of Team PokerStars Pro Online as we get a new lineup on the feature table. Just a few players away from the money now. In fact, we are 3 away from the money. So of that original lineup, Joe, of the original 23 members of Team Online, I can tell you that one of them is currently on the PokerStars roster. Who is that player? And I will give you a clue. They weren't on the roster continuously from 09 to 2021. They went away and came back.
Oh my goodness. They came back in 2021?
I'm not saying when they came back. I'm saying that they weren't there throughout.
The entire time.
They weren't there for 12 consecutive years, no.
Is it Andre Coimbra?
Joe, that is a solid guess, and it's the right answer.
Hell yeah, I got a trivia question right for once.
Joe wins a speedboat.
Do you know, like, a lot of the times, like, when I get it, the answer is because, like, I've accidentally cheated, right? It's just, like, on screen somewhere, or I actually just pulled from memory.
It's not enough.
My brain still works.
I did not expect you to get that. So the shove from Chacon. Called by Habenig. Queen 9 versus King Queen. Domination nation. Spades are a factor. Habenig has the 9 of spades.
Oh, come on. This kid's like, just everyone back in this era was so cocky. He's like, I deserve this. Queen, 9, Jack, 10.
Oh, wow. Has the flush draw. Has the open-ended straight draw. So many cards for Chacon to fade if he's going to double up here. It's the 8 of hearts. It's the straight for Habenig. And Andres Chacon is eliminated. Bubbles, this LAPT Florianopolis main event from August of 2010. We now have 50 players remaining and 48 will get paid.
I take lucky. I'll take it anytime.
It would be cool if the bubble bursts at our feature table.
Sanchez all in with ace-8. Velasco with 7s. Calls. And Mezzatesta is in as well.
Yeah, assuming that this is happening the way we think it is. So this is like the soft bubble right now?
Yeah, this would take us to 49. This would take us to the pure bubble if we lose Sanchez in this hand. Well, there is an 8 on the flop, but there is also a 7. Top pair versus a set.
And 6s are still drawing live as well.
I don't know whether you noticed there, but Sanchez celebrated that flop. Like he visibly showed how happy he was.
Huh. Well, gonna be less happy now.
I'm not going to say that's karma for reacting to a hand when there's still action on the side, but I kind of feel bubbling this is deserved.
Oh, it's so harsh. I don't know that I've ever thought someone deserved to bubble a poker tournament, especially just for getting excited about top pair.
And it's over on the turn. Ulysses Sanchez eliminated, which means we are down to 49. We are on the bubble.
Da 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 da, Ulysses.
And we're out in the field.
Oh. James, you know what this feels like? This feels like world famous bubble coverage.
With camera shots like that, no.
This feels like bubble coverage. Oh my goodness, Donatello Peters? So,
are we at the feature table? Are we out in the field? Are we?
I don't know.
We're going at lightning speed.
It feels like the camera is just kind of doing its own thing.
We've crossed the line multiple times.
This episode would flunk film school.
Oh my God.
What is happening? I'm actually kind of sick to my stomach right now, all this cutting back and forth.
Well, the audience are about to throw up in their mouths, and I'm guessing this guy is also going to be puking because I think we have our bubble boy.
Is he? Oh, I really wanted him to be reacting like that after busting out, but apparently that was Joy.
So is the bubble burst or not?
Oh, I didn't see anyone leave. Do you think the bubble burst and they just didn't film the right guy? No, you're supposed to get the guy who lost.
We have an all-in. Francisco Azacar opened with ace-10, and Alexandra Fracari is all in with jacks for not much.
I wanted his name to be Andre Fracari.
La primera que vi fue el número de moda, el 2.
Con par dos de front.
Aw, so cute. Fracari causing a fracas. Sweating this bubble. Francisco.
Par de valete.
Ace high flop.
Well, they're sweating this super hard. Did someone...
I'm
I guess,
pretty sure
is
that
this
guy
the
was
bubble?
eliminated. That dude who was like celebrating into that hand, I think he was eliminated.
Hold on, though. So maybe this is the same hand, and he's sweating not being the pure bubble boy?
Well, that is Azacar eliminated, so we are definitely in the money, and yeah. So that guy went broke on the same hand, and the ruling that was made at the time is because he had more chips, it is Azacar
Oh, shit.
who bubbles. He gets a min cash.
Oh, no way. That is so... That's somehow so much worse than bubbling.
Everything about that bubble was horrible. And yes, Elu, world famous bubble coverage did not become a thing until at least 2013. So into the money now
So sad.
at this main event.
All right.
It's main race, right?
This guy, he comes to your restaurant to test your mezza plates.
I kind of feel really sorry for Mezzatesta having Habenig on his direct left.
Yeah. It's like one kid they shipped over from Europe. They're like, you get to be the one that just comes over to Brazil and just crushes everybody.
This week, the role of Dominic Nietzsche will be played by Matthias Habenig.
Yeah. Look at this guy getting involved with this off-brand sourdough, ace-5, years before it would become a thing. The good news is you have Jack-10 suited. It's nice to try to see a flop. There's nothing you could do. Oh, man, this is 2010. So hard.
He does realize he has zero fold equity, right? He does realize that Habenig has to call with literally any two cards.
The maneuver, the theatrics, the double arm shove, Habernig's, yeah, call. Is out in front.
Proudly shows Jack-10.
Suited.
Is it this classic, well, we've burst the bubble now, I'm guaranteed a min cash, I'm taking a stand?
He's quite literally
How about
standing,
ace, ace?
more than likely to head to the exit. I guess more than likely is unfair. Check out those equities. 51.49. I mean, go for it.
Deuce 3, 4.
We get a little bad look-alike for having a Michael Sarah, former Poker in the Ears podcast guest. Wait, what was that? Jack 9, Queen 10.
Oh yeah, it's a straight flush draw.
Street Flash Poker?
We've got Street Flash Poker. And look, this guy's been to the World Series of Poker, so anything could happen.
They don't just give those sweatshirts away. Is that another 9?
Nine would be nice. I would take a 9.
And the
I do
river
love
card
the emotion.
is a deuce. Hasta Viesta, Mezza Tester. At least you made the money, dude. At least you secured a min cash. Meanwhile, Matthias Habenig continues to build a big stack.
The sickest. What?
What a boss.
I saw it. Yes, of course. Nuts. The sickest flop ever.
Yeah. he had a king, so
Yeah.
the odds was still like the sickest.
Interesting shove with the Jack 10. Didn't work out for him, and Habenig now has nearly 400k. Miguel Velasco Hoyos also a big stack at this feature table, as is Dejan Vardanega. So all these players in contention for the first prize of 250k at this Season 3 Latin American Poker Tour event. We are in Florianopolis in Brazil. This tournament was played from the 5th to the 8th of August 2010 at the Costal de Santino Resort, and we're going to follow it all the way through to its conclusion today. Of course, we referenced at the start of the show, Joe, and everyone can see that you are not confined to your commentary booth in the PokerStars Arena this week. You are out and about, you're down in San Diego, and you are playing poker too.
I am playing poker too. There's a whole series of events going on here. I did start. I did something I've never done before, James. I late reg a tournament yesterday by like 2 hours. Noon tournament, hopped in around 2 p.m. I made it through. I also did something I've never done before, James. I bagged chips for the first time in my entire life.
So you are coming back for day 2 in several hours' time?
Not several hours time, in just under 4 hours time. I'm back.
That's an early restart for your part of the world.
Yeah, they did 2 flights yesterday. So like there was a noon flight and a 7 p.m. flight. So they have to combine them both at noon today to just, to get everything done, to make sure this is just a straight up 2-day event. The wild part is that I bagged and then I stuck around the casino for a little while, and then I got roped into playing some pot limit Omaha cash last night. And yeah, and then when I was like, guys, I got to get home. Like I got PokerStars Retro in the morning. There was no rides. And then like anyone that could give me a ride was like in very deep in this PLO cash game. So I was out super late last night. It's like the old days again. Tournament in the day, cash game at night. Like it is pretty wild being back on the scene here.
Look, I know every poker story from you involves a bad beat of some nature, but generally speaking, your attempts to play pot limit Omaha cash never go well. Was last night any exception?
It was. I have to be quiet because so Boston Rob's staying with us, and he was skulking around here. Boston Rob like just went absolutely berserk. We were doing a double board bomb pot, and I ended up scooping both boards off Boston Rob and won like $1,500 off of him. I actually walked away a winner last night. I bagged chips and I won money in the cash game. So it was just a pretty good poker day for me all around. I just don't want to gloat.
That's fair enough. I understand the whole nature of getting it quietly, but does that mean that the whining can stop now for a little while?
For a bit, yeah, absolutely. Well, hold on. If I cash in this tournament, I give everyone a moratorium on the whining.
Okay.
Okay.
You have made a day 2. That in itself is an achievement. I know it doesn't come with any cash reward, but it's still, you know, achievement unlocked.
I mean, it is. This is not a complaint, but it is an achievement, James, because I'm going into day 2 with 20 big blinds. I did not make top pair even once yesterday. I survived multiple all in, shoving like 8 big blinds, 9 big blinds every time, getting it in good, but just completely breaking the board. But luckily, so did my opponents. So I've got this massive 20 big blind stack headed into day 2.
Fantastic. Well, let's get back to the action from Brazil from 2010. New lineup at the feature table. I don't think we've seen any... Oh, Matthias Habeneck, of course. Continuing to follow the journey of the Austrian, who is one of the chip leaders right now. But there is a player at this table who's got more than 500,000 chips.
The American. That's a name I can say. Sa. Say Sa.
I love the fact that Rudy's qualified from Canada, has made the trip. Matthias, won a satellite on stars from Austria, has made the trip. Everyone now in the money, guaranteed at least a min cash. Blinds 5,000, 10,000.
It's just crazy that all of a sudden, now that we're down to a smaller field, North Americans all of a sudden popping up. Oh, it's Patrick Warburton. I've got ace king. Pizza.
He wants a pizza the action, all in for 36,425.
He doesn't just want a pizza, he wants it all. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This guy didn't get stacks this big by folding ace 10.
Rudy Blondo calls. That's... I'm pretty sure he said the word call, but apparently it's a re-raise to 150,000.
Yeah, it's unclear.
So, Pizzamilio at risk, but ahead. It's Domination Nation in Brazil's favor. Good luck, all-in player.
Really does not look like Patrick Warburton up close. Apologies. Yes.
So far, so good.
Yeah,
85% chance of survival.
Yeah, I like to see the best hand win here. If this holds, we're going to throw a bow.
10 on the turn. Domination rotation in effect.
Pizza about to get sliced. Hey, at least he went broke in 30 minutes or less.
Blondo seems to be a little bit embarrassed, but he'll take the chips, and he has eliminated Pizzamilio.
Here's the great thing, James. So if you call with ace 10 there, right?
Yeah.
You win. You're embarrassed. You have to take the chips. You don't even have a choice. It's not like you even can say, like, you know what, I feel bad. You can stay. It's not even allowed.
I got lucky against him yesterday.
I don't know if you knew that.
It was like tilted. He was like 150 chips. I had like 30. And I pushed all in with king 9, he had king 0.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to listen to your hand history, dude.
You know what? That's the best time to get someone to listen to it, though, when they're stacking chips, right?
He's a captive audience. He can't go anywhere.
Yeah. They're just in a good mood. They're like, yeah. Tell me more. Tell me more.
So Rudy Blondo back in action. King, queen. Looks like the blinds are now
Dennis.
6,000, 12,000.
Dennis 3001 asking, will you stream the final table of the Sunday Million this week? No, it was the Sunday Million happened 2 days ago. We will not be streaming it this week. Thank you for your question.
We've got ace king here for Martin Fuentes.
Just gonna ship it. Just gonna ship it.
And this is a 10 big blind shove.
Blondo dominated again. Can he do it again?
Wow, makes the call with king, queen off, putting Fuentes at risk. However, Fuentes is a 3-1 favorite here.
The only way you can justify making the call with king, queen is being like, oh, you know, I'm probably live. Nope. Domination nation. Didn't matter last time.
8-8-3 with 2 clubs. Blondo does have the queen of clubs.
Don't do that. This is a very good flop for ace king. Don't ruin it with your club nonsense.
Another crunchy card on the turn, the deuce of clubs.
Don't. I said don't do it. This is your fault if it's a club on the river, James.
It's a club.
Oh, God.
Blondo does it again, and this time he does it the hard way.
Rudy.
And Martin Fuentes is eliminated.
And he's still going to take those chips.
Oh, wow. Bye.
Lucky, eh? Yeah.
I bet there's going to be a little extra mustard on that handshake.
New feature table lineup. A few faces we haven't seen so far.
And one we have.
Just a few tables remaining now, playing down to the final table in this LAPT Florianopolis main event from August 2010.
There can't be many redraws left. Hockey sticks for Vardanega.
Yeah. Diane Vardanega's raised with the sevens. Hey, Blondie.
What is this guy doing?
Re-raising with King 10 off, and now we have queens for Matthias Habenig, who's disappearing behind those towers of chips.
Can Blondo do it a third time? I would assume that this Blondo can't call it off with King 10. It's just amazing that this stack of blue and red is probably worth more than what all those yellows are worth.
So it's a
Why are
cold
there so many
four from
yellows in
Habernick.
play?
I don't think they ever color up. 166,000 now. And Ace King. And a shove
Man,
from
oh
Scott
man.
Davies.
Yeah, I mean, Davies, look, has the smallest stack, at least on appearance, of all these players. I think that there could be an argument for, like, after this action, maybe folding if you have fewer chips.
He folded before.
But between the ace-king and the short stack, it's the sickest and grossest of races. Like, the only way is Essex versus the Buried Life. One of these two things from 2010 has a slight mathematical advantage.
Queens.
It is the classicest
Anybody
of
fold ace or
races.
king? Probably.
It will
Just the worst.
queen.
Ace King's at risk.
Did you guys fold ace or king? Yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
he folded aces.
I fold aces in that spot every time. Come on, one time.
Don't do it.
Queen's
Man,
holding.
way at risk now. Yeah.
Queen of
Can I,
hearts in the
can I
tournament.
counterfeit you?
No. Like running for us? Or
I'll take a 3 or a 5 on the turn.
Oh,
It'll
okay.
be all right. Make it a little interesting.
Oh, I take a queen of hearts.
I don't think I want a queen of hearts.
I don't need to sweat. Just put a queen down there.
All right, all right.
Ah.
I got
A little bit of
All
hope.
right.
6, 7, 8. I could do this.
Definitely some American optimism
I
on
want the
display
queen, I
here.
want to win it dirty.
I take a 4.
No, I want to win it dirty. 3 of spades.
No, put a
Davies
queen
wants to do it
Anybody hold a
dirty.
three?
Wants the 3 of spades.
No? 3 spades.
Queen ball.
One time.
Queens hold. And Davies is eliminated.
Goodbye, my Davies.
Nothing you can do, man.
Yeah. Good luck, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks. Good luck, man.
Good luck.
Are we changing feature table already? Oh, I think we just got some new players taking their seats. Maybe a few eliminations in the hands that followed. Still got Blondie and Habernig. Mario Donoso is now at the table.
And
Marco
brings like a
Casido.
big
And
stack.
Pedro Velasco.
At
8,000, 16,000 blinds.
this guy's hair looks like it was put on with one of those magnet things you use as a kid, where you like drag the metal filings around with it.
Another 8.
It is a new table lineup because you'll notice that Rudy Blondeau has a new seat assignment, so maybe there was a redraw, Joe.
Yeah, definitely. Got Habernig and Blondeau next to each other. Hopefully we get to see some collisions there. Oh, insta-shove here with King Jack suited. All right, against the late open, right? There's an argument for that. Against Habernig, who's probably a pretty active player.
Yeah, I'm going to go on a limb here and say that Caicedo's going broke in this hand.
One way or another. I mean, I don't love ace-jack in this spot.
I think they might be down to the final 2 tables, by the way.
That would explain the redraw.
Would indeed.
So ace-jack does make the call. And at this point, ace-jack just calling here is a little strange out of the small blind. Habernig will be in position and is getting, what is this, like
I'm all in.
better than 3-1? Oh, just shoves. Oh, so sick. This is actually kind of good for Caicedo, right?
Yeah.
Caicedo no longer dominated. Now we know that some of the outs are folded.
Such a nice
Habernak's way too happy to have just got the best hand to fold.
What?
Rude.
From him?
So yeah, Caicedo like a little bit more live than before. Like if he can hit a jack,
I thought I had him beaten.
won't be out kicked this time.
É que eu sei que ele vai fazer isso M2, entendeu? Pra jogar sozinho, então flop grande.
We got a bad lookalike from Son of Perch for Habernag. A little Beck for you.
Too young, too clean cut to be back.
Yeah, like, yeah, it's probably not a pair.
I'm sticking with Michael Cera.
Pô, tu não viu essa mão? Despedida é mais de 10.
Oh, come on.
Pretty decisive.
Dude, how happy are you that you folded ace jack now?
Now he's happy. No, running queens, right?
Oh, little bit of hope for Caicedo.
I think it's more like Kai, see you later.
And it is case closed for Caicedo. Habernag wins another huge pot.
I mean, we could wrap this up pretty quick, I think.
Just give this guy the trophy and the first place prize money, you mean?
That's one way to do it. Just a one-man wrecking crew between him and Blondeau.
Hey, Blondie!
It's like a Norway name. It's very good. Like it sounds like German, but in German it's
Laugh it up.
But it's like,
Where are you from? Canadian, right? It's Canadian?
Blinds have gone to 10,000, 20,000.
All in.
Where have I seen this hand before?
What, ace 10?
Yeah.
The previous hand, where Habernag had ace 10?
No, that's not it. I don't think that was it.
can't do it.
Why not? 240.
All right, Velasco, you got away from it before, technically folded the better hand when the money went in. Now you got it. Faded that absolute nightmare of a 210 flop. Now you got it in good. Is there any way it comes 210s again?
No.
That would just be so dirty. Like you just sidestep the landmine and then very next hand, they're just like, no, just kidding. Like you're dead.
There's a queen on the flop, and this is looking good for Velasco. I just saw the tourney clock, 15 players remaining. So Andre de Oliveira Sá about to exit, heading for the exit in 15th place. There were opportunities there on the turn, but ace, queen holds, and we are down to 14 now.
Anyone else here noticed it's in replay and actually not live? It means it happened already. Well, if it's a replay and it's not live, how did I just read that? I genuinely don't have an answer.
This is not an replay. Joseph and I are speaking to you live.
We are, in fact, live, my babies. Velasco with another big ace. You know, Brazil is a country famous for its big aces, James.
Yeah.
In fact, lots of people will go to Brazil just to make their aces bigger.
Oh, God, I just worked out where this is going. Scartazzini. Magnet hair guy, all in for 94,000 with ace-jack suited.
Isn't Scartazzini the guy that conspired against the Corleones in Godfather 2?
That was Frank Pentangeli.
Are you sure there's no Scartazzini?
That's what they had for dinner.
Give me I'll have the Scartazzini. What hand do you want here? Ace King, right? Are you an Ace King guy, or are you a small pocket pair guy?
Well, the pocket pair's not involved.
I mean, Velasco, how good do you run right now? I mean, I could be speaking too soon, but gets away from it when he would have lost, and now gets it in twice, dominating.
Come on the popcorn, come on the broccoli. Oh, instead it's the jack.
Just a reversal of fortunes when this happens. Domination, rotation. So hard to come back from this. No flush draws.
Oh, and the club for good measure, although Velasco has the king of clubs, so
doesn't
still
hurt him that much.
Has 3 outs. No good. Scartazzini doubles up.
Sorry, Velasco. I shouldn't have said anything. Son of a person rooting against Velasco if those are jorts that he's wearing. Don't hate on jorts. I'm wearing them now.
Velasco's still got 825K. He is a huge stack. With 14 players remaining, 2 tables of 7. Blinds 10,000, 20,000.
I mean, we've really been on a journey watching this tournament. 8
Yeah.
and 16, I think, where the blinds started off. Now they're at 10K, 20K.
I think it's also worth mentioning that we are watching edited highlights. These were the TV shows that were constructed around this event in 2010, and there's a very good chance that we lose players and we don't see those players. There might be plenty of schlugging, so suddenly we might find ourselves down to 12 or on the final table bubble.
I wouldn't mind if we just found ourselves heads up, but I don't think we're going to.
That would be extreme.
Yeah.
Hello, aces. Pocket rockets for Matthias Habenig.
So you say hello aces there, James, and it's just, I was feeling the exact same way, that peel right there, like you definitely like can feel how great it is to peel aces, even just watching it on TV.
Absolutely.
You still get a little bit of that like vicarious aces sweat. Speaking of which, James, so far in 2 tournaments played here, 2 full days of poker, I have not been dealt aces, kings, or queens.
Joe, you had a
Not
winning
complaining.
session last night. You've made day 2 of an event. STFU, please. So second pair for Velasco. Habenig with top set.
Olua Moose. Crack aces, please. Going to be very difficult at this point.
He does have nice hair, though.
He's a fine-looking lad.
Also, it's quite erotic what he's doing there with those chips as they move across the line, makes the call. Oh, wow. Quads now for Habenig. Velasco thinking blockers. He probably doesn't have an ace now.
There's 0% chance he just thought the word blockers. But yes, assuming that your opponent is unlikely to have an ace here after one hits the turn is fairly common.
In the same way, Joe, that we saw ICM created on the LAPT, Waisiel's theorem, which was later rebadged, I'll have you know that the Velasco method was later rebadged blockers.
I mean, there's only one combination of aces that Habernick can have. Habernick loading up. I think something more important to think about here, instead of like, hey, can Habernick have an ace when there's two aces on board, is what bluff is Habernick gonna run here? Damn, that happened quickly.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
The ace 10 paid double.
I don't use the word punt lightly. That was a punt.
And Velasco goes from being monster stack to short stack. That was a clash, I think, of the players who are 1 and 2 in chips right now.
Well, one of them is just 1 in chips right now, and Velasco is probably Velasco. Okay, it's just another monster hand.
Oh, Velasco's like, I'm done with this.
How much?
That's just obviously like we don't need to beat a dead horse, and this tournament happened a long time ago, but that shove with Queen 10 is really something.
With the blinds and maybe
Like, was it a bluff?
Need to get a poll going, Joe. What's worse, the graphics on the show or that punt with Queen 10?
The punt with Queen 10, I think, is worse. Definitely costs more money. Got another King Jack in the mix. Argentina.
10 more. I think you need 10 more. Ah, 18.
That's pretty good.
118.
Son of a perch. At least Velasco can buy the rest of those jeans now. Well played. Oh, Habernick looking to finish the job with the worst of it. Well, not the worst of it, but certainly not the best of it.
Well, let's look at this from a different perspective. Velasco could triple up here and get back in the game.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Don't say nothing. You're on TV. Don't say
I mean, look, Velasco's got both players dominated. The Queen 10 play was pretty horrific, but I will say that Velasco, you know, getting it in good and getting out flopped, it is tough. You know, it's tough mentally to come back from that.
Well, Ace Jack still the best hand on a Queen 9-6 flop. Still ahead.
Maybe it will be a triple up.
He's good. Check to showdown, and Velasco survives. Yes.
He's so happy. Oh, that's cute.
We're not going denim shopping just yet, guys. I still have chips. Getting closer to the final table. Couple of players away from being down to 9. This is Mario Donoso who's got the aces. Raises to 60,000. Matthias Habenig, the chip leader's got queens.
And Habenig really hasn't had to deal with much adversity at all in this tournament. I feel like this might finally be reckoning time. I don't see how more bets don't go in, and I don't see how Habenig doesn't get it in with queens. Just everyone's so punty. Like when you're playing in a field like this where people are just so splashy, it's really tough to ever lay down. Oh, look at that. Oh my God. What?
What?
In the world? So he flatted the queens and
whoa.
flopped a set.
Whoa. Pause.
Check, shove, call. Insane.
There's 162,000 in the middle. The
Yeah.
guy open ships 878k into a pot of 162,000. And that is a classic example of you're only going to get called by hands that have you crushed. Like a set.
I mean, I don't think it's exactly that true. I think that like ace queen can call you, king queen can call you. Like I don't really think ace queen is folding on that flop. However, yes, you are just going to get absolutely snapped off if your opponent hits a set or somehow has two pair here. It's pretty wild. Like you do give your opponent an excellent chance of getting away from ace queen too when you do that. Like it is not a good play. Don't get me wrong.
No.
I do think there's a chance you can get it in against ace queen here, but like you're making it as difficult as possible on yourself.
I mean, I'm sorry, you called out the queen 10 play. I think this one is worse. And I'm not just playing results. I'm talking about the most ludicrous overbet I think I've ever seen.
See, I'm more. You're not wrong, but I'm more lean toward like this is just unlucky. Like this.
Vai cair. O cara tá maior que ele. O cara
Queens.
¿Cuánto tienes?
Caralho, que isso, cara?
1.1. I got it covered.
Oh my God. Habenig's going to have like 90% of the chips in play after this.
I told you this could end quickly. Like, obviously, we know how many episodes it takes, but man, oh man, what a... Was that an ace?
No.
Deuce.
Ele não é brasileiro, ele não é brasileiro.
Give it up for Hippie in chat here. Shouting out Chiquitita.
Nice callback.
O Altinho não vai enfrentar esse cara, mano.
Okay, that is the elimination of Mario Donoso.
That, you know what, James? You're right. You're right. Because of the size of that stack.
Clearly not aware of Waysiel's theorem.
Is that final table? Is that why they're standing?
No, I think he was the 12th place finisher.
Just 1 million.
I don't play with you again. I'm stopped.
I mean, it's got to feel like destiny when someone just hands you
7, 8.
what at any other point in the tournament would be a top number one, the biggest stack, and you just add it to yours. Look at that.
Well, we fast forward now, Joe, to the 15,000, 30,000 blind level, and we are on the final table bubble. We are one away from being down to 9.
Yeah.
Scartazzini in bad shape here.
Just call. Just call.
Gonna need to hit one of these live cards. Certainly can't hope for a fold. Oh, and it's gonna be, all right, well, at least has one player dominated.
Come on, Scartazzini. Get the triple up. I'm pulling for you, buddy.
Check.
Come on, the queen.
Queen high.
Come on, the queen 6.
Check.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the queen 6 too.
Check.
Yes, 2 pair.
I have 2 pairs.
Yes, he has 2 pairs. Vartanega doesn't like losing, does he?
Que isso? O cara é herói, velho.
I mean, nobody does, but Schwarzenegger is a little more outwardly emotive about it.
I have to say, I'm not overly happy with the way this final table bubble is being played. They've gone to a table of 5 and a table of 4, and I don't think that's good. I think it should have merged at 9, but it's a bit late to fix it now.
Also, you know, in the same way that tournament poker players are figuring out the most optimal way to do things, that tournament organizers are still figuring things out too at this point. Like, we're still like 8 years away from someone coming up with a big blind ante.
Habenig raises small to big. Velasco shoves. Habenig calls. We are flipping, and this is a race that Velasco needs to win to survive.
This is a big one. Like Bad Romance versus Rude Boy. One of these two things from 2010 has a slight mathematical advantage.
Bad Romance has to be earlier than 2010. You mean the Lady Gaga song, right?
Yes. Yes. Number 8 at the end of the year.
At the end of 2010?
According to this Billboard Wikipedia page. Look, maybe it was such a hit that it made it all the way through 2009 and ended up number 8 in 2010.
Tens holding.
Focus, man. 10. One more.
Well, only a queen or a jack on the river will save Pedro Velasco.
10 of spades.
It's a 5, and Velasco is KO'd in 9th place, and the final 8 will return for the final day of this LAPT main event. And Matthias Habenig is going to have such a ludicrous chip lead. And annoyingly, Joe, we're not going to see the stacks. We're just going to see how they got into this tournament,
Wow.
which I kind of feel at this point in time isn't really the most pertinent information that you could be bringing the audience. But, as I said, we know from what we've seen, from the ridiculous pots that were played, that stupid collision with aces versus queens, that Matthias is going to have a phenomenal lead on the rest of the table.
How can we tell? I don't know. The chips could be anything at this point. It would have been nice, you know, to just put a number on things, but whatever. We saw the chips moving around.
Maybe at the start of the next show, we are going to see the stacks of the final 8. So if you had to take a guess, how big a lead do you think, in terms of chip disparity, Matthias Habenig has right now?
I would say that Habenig probably has twice the chips of the person in second place at the moment.
Okay, I reckon it's a lot closer to 3-1. But we will find out, because hopefully the information will be provided. This is Season 3 of the Latin American Poker Tour from the summer of 2010. August 5th to 8th that year, this event was played in Florianopolis, in Brazil. $2,700 buy-in, $250K up top, and now 8 players remain. Let's see who those 8 players are. There you go, Joe. 3.1 million for Habenig, and the second biggest stack is Dejan Vardanega, who's got 889K.
That's almost 4-1. So, wow.
20K, 40K blinds. The final day, the final table. Let's do this.
Has anyone in chat ever been in this situation at a final table where you just have a 3.5-1 chip lead over the player in second place and you're just like absolutely crushing souls? Anybody?
Well, we've got a shove here from Vardanega, who has Hoyos covered.
Oh. I did not see that coming. Good laydown.
I was not stealing.
Sir Donkalot says, so it's true, big stacks do always win then. You know what's crazy is that we focus on the chip leader going into the final table all the time. And they do win more often than not.
Yeah.
More often than, say, the bottom stack, but still not that often. It's like pocket aces, right? Like, you know, pocket aces win 70% of the time or whatever, which is more than any other hand, but there's still like a big chunk of the time they don't win.
Well,
and
Miguel,
it's certainly
back in action
certainly
there.
don't guarantee. And I don't think at this point, again, remember ICM was not really something players took into consideration back then. If anyone would be able to wield this big stack power of this group, it seems like Habernig would be capable.
We're off to the races. Hoyos not going to be pushed off this hand. Got re-raised by Vardanega. Shoved with the sevens. Got called, and it is a flip.
Like Insidious versus Devil. One of these two things from 2010 has a slight mathematical advantage. Remember Devil? What a cool movie that was.
Sevens holding.
It is always coming siete. Siempre siete, even though this is not a Spanish-speaking country.
Well, Hoyos survives unless there's an ace or a king on the river. Sevens hold. Miguel Hoyos gets a double up.
I never got your answer, James, as to whether or not you're a pair guy or an overcards guy.
Depends what the pair is.
I cannot fold it 2 times.
Okay, sevens versus ace king.
I think I'd take the ace king.
Deuces versus ace king.
Ace king.
Okay.
Tens and upwards, I'm kind of taking the pair.
Sure. Queens you're taking versus
Yeah.
ace king.
Oh, God, yeah. I think queens is like 57% against ace king.
What kind of money we talking up top here, James?
$250,000 US.
Hell yeah. Oh. What in this situation? Are you a sevens guy or a queens guy?
Definitely queens.
Still taking the queens. Luckily, this is 2010, where there was at least one player in this field who's like, actually, I like sevens. Seven's my lucky hand. I'll take the sevens. Pretty action-killy board here. Ace high. Which means I expect sevens to fire at this pretty hard. Nah, it's going to be the chip leader. I mean, the one thing you got going for you with queens here, despite this
Yeah.
horrific board, is that it is the chip leader betting into you, right? So they are going to bet. They're not going to be afraid to bluff you. They're not going to be afraid to fire this board. It's just so hard to navigate multiple bets here. What you can do is you can call and just hope your opponent shuts down, or you can just insta-muck queens. And honestly, look, I know it looks bad because he's up against sevens, but I think just like folding queens there is fine sometimes.
It's also
Am I crazy?
A very nice donation, because if there's one thing Matthias Habenig needs right now, it's more chips.
Like, I think the ability to get away from queens without auto putting more bets in is a good thing. Especially if you're playing against someone that you know is playing pretty straightforward. I'm not saying that's Habernig.
Who the hell is this guy?
I think that's Bucket Hat guy from before in a different bucket hat.
No, this is a different bucket hat guy. This is Andre Scaff. How did this guy make it to the final table? We've never seen him before.
I'm considering dropping my first ever PokerStars Retro F-bomb with, who's this effing guy? All right, another overcards versus pair situation. Hartigan liking the ace-king in this spot, and understandably so.
I mean, this just shoving flops. I guess in this situation it's a little bit different. It's putting Scaff to a decision for all of his chips.
And I assume that we're about to see a series of pipes and wooden planks go up the side of a building, aka scaffolding. I better see laughing in the chat from that, guys. This is right off the top of my head. I do like the stand up to rake in the chips move.
Still at the 20-40 blind level. And action folded to Rodrigo Scartazzini. Ace-7, and he's all in. Scartazzini,
I mean, it's funny, we've got Scaff, who we haven't seen before, and Scartazzini, who I could have sworn went broke 2 episodes ago.
No, he kept doubling up, kept getting lucky. That Queen 6 on the final table bubble was key for him.
Queen 6, or as I like to call it, Quicks.
Hey, a raise and take it, made it into the edit.
I'm for it.
So no eliminations so far. Still 8 players remaining at the final table of this LAPT Florianopolis main event from August 2010. Matthias Habenig has increased his chip lead 3.4 million, better than a 3-1 advantage on Dejan Vardanega, who sits second on the leaderboard. A lot of players in the danger zone, including Martins and Scartazzini.
Danger zone! As James would say, this is becoming a tale of the Habernigs and the Habernots.
Faux show. Oh. We've got an all in here from Alex Martins, and he's run into aces. It's Rudy Blondeau.
I haven't heard from Rudy in a while. I mean, Rudy loved calling it off with not so great hands. Imagine what he can do with aces.
He reshoves because he's one of the shorter stacks.
Tô morto, cara.
Nice little handshake.
Que hora?
Everybody made money. We're all gonna have a good day today, no matter what. I mean, he's no scoff, but we really haven't seen much from Martins either.
Well, there is a 9 on the flop, gives Martins a little bit of hope. 8th place, by the way, pays $18,880. Now has straight draw on the turn as well. So much to love.
That's all. Wait, was that a comment about his weight? Ooh.
Martins gets there. Aces are cracked, and we are still 8-handed at this final table.
Aces, who needs them? Ugh. Never did nothing for nobody.
Apologizes to Rudy Blondeau, who may now be the shortest stack at the table.
Rudy's gotten it in bad a few times and managed to make it. It's hard to keep that kind of perspective at this point, right? It's just like, what have you done for me lately?
Ace queen here for Vardanega, who's announced a raise to 92,000. Ace 3 for the shorty.
Do you think Vardanega is Brazil's answer to Schwarzenegger? Look at those Terminator glasses.
I mean, I'd like to think Brazil could do a little bit better than that.
They definitely could.
Jack 9. We prefer Jack 9.
Jack 9 is the hand for Matthias Habenig, the chip leader.
How much? 92?
In the small blind. And is that a re-raise? Yep, 325,000, and this is where things get spicy, Joe. This is where things get interesting.
Yeah.
1 and 2 in chips, respectively, and we know how many short stacks there are. So many players on 10 bigs or fewer.
Yeah, this seems oddly timed, especially in an age where people did not heed ICM as much as they do now. You know, you might be able to put some pressure on the second biggest stack in the modern age. If there's a bunch of shorties about to go out, keep this pot small, keep people playing honest. Jack 9's kind of a weird hand to do it with. Small blind makes sense positionally.
Jacks.
I take it all back. This guy's got ICM up the wazoo.
He has been studying Waisiel's theorem. He's been watching the LAPT episodes from previous seasons.
I mean, obviously he folded the best hand, but like if there's a bunch of short stacks, like why? Like you know, you just in no man's land.
Yeah. I mean, we should now get a flurry of eliminations. They can't stay 8-handed forever. The blinds are really starting to catch up with them now.
That is literally true.
Blondeau forced all in with Queen 5. I mean, not forced, but so short now.
130?
35 maybe.
Rudy has moved all in for approximately
Well, one of these guys, if not both, is going to call. Small blind has passed. Big blind cannot fold. Alex Martin's forced to call with any two. And actually has a solid hand. Ace-8 makes the call, and Blondo's at risk.
This might finally be the end of Blondo. He's having the ride of his life from Canada to Florianopolis.
Do you think there are many direct flights from Canada to Florianopolis?
Just one a week.
There is an 8 on the flop, which means Blondo now needs a queen. Three outs for the Canadian.
Needs that river magic.
And the guy with the Monopoly t-shirt is bankrupt. Blondo, 8th place finisher, cashing for just shy of $20,000. 7 players remaining, all now guaranteed more than 28K.
Finally. I felt like it took a really long time.
No torneio inteiro se diz, né?
Não, no torneio sim. No primeiro dia acabei com 50 mil. No primeiro dia.
50 mil mesmo.
Mas depois não passei mais de 10.
Habenig still monster chip leader, nearly 3.6 million, just over $1 million for the guy who's second on the leaderboard. Scartazzini is short, Scaff is short, Kazan is short, Hoyos is relatively short. Wow, there should be a bust-out bonanza, quite frankly.
I mean, when you're watching TV coverage, it can often look like a bust-out bonanza anyway, just due to the fact that they typically have to cram a whole bunch of bust-outs into an hour-long TV show. But this, in real time, you're right, should happen relatively quickly also, or have happened, I should say.
Well, Rodrigo Scartazzini is all in with aces. And again, considering his stack size, could get at least one caller here. Rather, will get one caller. It's a case of how many players want to make the call. Oh, again, the player in the big blind wakes up with a hand, however, is crushed by Scartazzini's pair.
Scartazzini due to survive again.
Não, por favor. Brinca não.
I mean, this is one thing that we've all been a part of before. It's just like a final table where like the short stacks just don't go broke.
Vamos que dá usura também.
Novinho, eu acho que, sei lá, cara. Você tá muito Highlander nessa história aí. Eu acho que o novinho vai.
10 pra dar emoção.
O 10 pra dar emoção?
Ele gosta de
Again, the
Ele gosta de ver sangue, cara.
randomization of the subtitles means we don't know what's being said there. We do know that Vardanega now has additional outs.
10 ou 9?
It's not going to happen again with aces. Aces.
It does happen again. It's a set of 9s on the river. And Vardanega KOs Scartazzini. He's out in 7th place, cashing for $28,310. And now 6 players remain.
Scartazzini, more like scar tissue, because that is going to leave a mark.
Good job.
Yeah. Wow. Que hora, que hora.
Vamos lá, parceiro.
Ai, ai,
Vamos lá, que esse é nosso. Então.
Next player out gets nearly 40,000 US.
Shoving small to big into the biggest stack. I don't know how you can determine whether or not you're ahead of this player's shoving range, small to big, but with all those chips, I don't think this is going to get through.
No. There's the call from Habenig. So it's Scaff with the Grafton, Habenig with Queen Jack of Spades.
And this could be the bust out bonanza you were talking about.
Wow.
Back-to-back hands potentially. Eliminations.
Yeah. If Queen High holds here, we're down to 5 players.
And 0 bucket hats.
Five, 4, 3. Just the one club.
Oh, it hurts so bad to lose this to Queen High. Like, I couldn't even beat Queen High. Technically losing to Jack High even. Just one of those cards.
10 or a 9 needed for Andre Scaff. Doesn't hit, and it is another KO. Andre Scaff eliminated in 6th place. $37,790, taking us down to the final 5.
That's me scaffing at Scaff. Scoffing at Scaff.
How many chips does Habenig have now? And we're still at the 20,000, 40,000 blind level. Martin's considering whether or not to play the King 10. Nah. 8-3 goes in the muck. Robson Kozan is a player we haven't seen much of. Hey, Robson, where's Jerome? Raises to 95,000 with ace-4. And I heard the words all in from Miguel Hoyos, shoving from the big blind with pocket 9s. All into call for Kozan.
Cara, também não quero nem ver. Eu quero ver o levantando aquele troféuzinho, só. Só o que interessa agora.
Aí, velho. Esse pensamento que nós temos que ter. Que sejam de nós 3. Provavelmente muita ficha. O homem não tá conseguindo nem arrumar as fichas.
I really don't understand what Kozan is thinking about here. I don't see how you can possibly call it off with ace-4 offsuit. Reaches the correct decision. Hoyos shows him that he had the goods. That's going to make him feel better. That was nice. I'm Not Woody has a question for you, Joe. Are you watching the chat?
No, thank you for your question. I'm not responding to it either.
Pocket 7s for Alex Martins. It's open to 120,000. Blinds are up, by the way, to 2550.
100.
Chip leader Matthias Habenig has King Jack. calls. The flop is jack high. Advantage Habenig.
So you like ace king when it's ace king versus sevens. What about king jack versus sevens? You got to go sevens here, right? Even though there's a jack on the flop.
I'm going with the king jack in this particular example.
You still like king jack here?
Yeah, because the flop's jack 8-4.
Oh, okay. Sorry. That's why we call him literal Hartigan. Philip wants to hear the story of how James became a commentator. It's unfortunately James ran over a witch in his car, and she cursed him to be partnered with me for a decade.
Martin's forced to fold. As Habenig continues to build that ridiculously huge stack. That ridiculously huge wall of chips in front of him.
I'll be disappointed if Habenig doesn't win. Or get to heads up at least, right? Heads up, like, things obviously can change very quickly. But.
Of course. What I find fascinating is during the early stages of the coverage, right, back before they'd even played into the money, as soon as this guy was on the feature table, as soon as we saw this young Austrian, we were like, okay, this is the guy who's basically going to eat everyone's lunch. And here we are with 5 players remaining, and he's got like most of the chips in play.
Man, I remember on some early poker show, I don't know if it was Big Game or one of our shows, and I don't remember if it made the cut or not. Here we go. Kazan.
Yeah.
I'm all in. I did some really long metaphor about someone like going into the office fridge, opening it up, taking a bag that clearly didn't have his name on it, and eating someone else's lunch. And that is what's happening right now with Habenig.
Well, Kazan gets it in good, and he loves it. And I can translate that. Martin says, beware of over-celebrating early, buddy. A lot of things can change.
I think it's okay to celebrate getting it in good, making a good decision, but you're right. It's better than me, than I'm just like never happy. I'm just worried about the suck out the whole time. Not the worst flop for Martins. Doesn't contain a jack. A couple of straight cards.
Hits the 5 on the turn. I love the fact that we've had protracted Brazilian chat between these two players, but at the point that he yells cinco, we have to have that translated as 5. Thanks, team subtitles. As Robson Kazan is eliminated in 5th place, $47,265. Down to the final 4, Joe.
Habenig still in the mix. By the way, did you know that was coming, that 5?
No.
You were awfully like, be careful what you celebrate about that hand.
No, not at all. I just hate it when people act like they've won the hand before any community cards have been dealt.
I think the only time I would ever feel safe enough to do that would be like aces versus ace king. Offsuit.
Even then, I would recommend not doing it. Again, just get it quietly. Matthias Habenig, 4.2 million. Diane Vardanega, 1.2 million. Alex Martins just over $1 million, and Miguel Hoyos, the short stack, with 683K. This final table continuing in just a moment. Want to take time very quickly to remind you about what is coming up on this channel, what's coming up on Twitch and YouTube in the coming days. So obviously next week, Joe, and we alluded to this on the podcast we recorded this week, we're coming to the end of this season of Poker in the Ears, and also coming to the end of this season of PokerStars Retro. So next week, there will be a podcast out around Thursday lunchtime, and there will be one more retro stream as we draw a line under Season 3 of the Latin American Poker Tour. But Mondays, we're going to be back on Mondays now that the Bounty Builder Turbo Series is over. The normal, the traditional, the standard Sunday Million returns. That means a 2-day MTT, which concludes on a Monday, and that means Monday night streams. So come this next Monday, which is the 14th, trying to do the mathematics in my head, it is the 14th, we're going to be here 6:30 p.m. UK time, which is 7:30 p.m. Central European time. And Griffin's going to be with us for that one, Joe. Griffin Benger in the mix for our Sunday Million coverage.
That's so fun. I really like the Sunday Million streams a lot. They're pacey. We get to see a wide variety of players there, right? We get the relative amateurs. We get the crushers who make it sometimes. And I think Griffin is going to make a great addition to what is already usually a very fun weekly stream.
Yeah, so while Retro will be coming to an end, while the podcast will be going on summer hiatus, we will continue those Monday night streams across the summer months. As long as there's a 2-day Sunday Million to cover, we'll be there for the second day, we'll be there for the Monday, and we'll bring you cards up coverage on Twitch and YouTube. So we are almost at the end of this main event. Just 4 players remain from a starting field of 364. It is the Florianopolis leg of Season 3 of the LAPT. It was played in August of 2010. And again, you asked the question a moment ago, Joe, what has to happen for Matthias Habenig to not win this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more inconceivable for him to not make it to heads up. When you get to heads up, you lose 2 flips, whatever you get, you lose 2 hands, basically the chip lead's gone again.
Yeah.
I will be I wouldn't say devastated, but I will be pretty disappointed if he does not make it to heads up, though. Like, that's just going to have to be an absolute disaster for him. But it should be entertaining to watch either way. That's the great thing about someone having a stack this big. They're either going to crush or they're going to get crushed. So it should be real fun.
And with 4 players remaining, they've all locked up 66K, $89,500 for third, 146 grand for second, $250,000, $250,000 for the winner of this main event. And these are the stacks of the final 4 as they come back to conclude this MTT and play for that trophy and that 6-figure score. Habenig, huge advantage. 2 locals still in the mix, Vardanega and Martins. And the blind's 25.50.
I like how they space them out so much on that graphic. No reason to cram them all together. Like at the table here, look, everyone's got plenty of room to stretch out, have a drink, elbow room.
115. One time.
And that is a raise and take it for Alex Martins.
I'll take it. I'll take the raise and take it. I'm sure they were told to sit in those spots for TV reasons, but man, if it were up to me, those 2 spots were Habenig and what's the guy's name? Verdania are much better suited for pushing chips and cards into the center of the table and collecting them as well.
It is a large table. 10-9 suited, the Grafton for Vardanega, and he is raising on the button.
Vardanega. Oh my goodness. 5 deuce is loose.
Wow. Hoyos defends his big blind pretty light and flops a monster.
Yeah, even by today's standards, a little light. I think you can get away with defending almost any 2 suited cards. Technically, 5 deuce are considered suited connectors. Not super out of line, but you really don't expect you're going to hit the flop this hard. This is fantastic. Man, what a crap turn card.
Yeah. And now tries to shut down the action, moves all in, gets a fold from Vardanega.
Just such a bad turn. It's either counterfeits you, I mean, it does counterfeit you, but it either just completely buries you or kills your action.
Dos pares que se dañaron.
Like you're doing well against what, 10s there, and that's about it? No, nothing. Nothing anymore. The jack's just terrible.
So this hand 47 of the final table. 4 players eliminated, 3 more KOs to go before we crown a champion and award that first prize of $250,000 US.
Haber 6.
Miguel Hoyos all in from the small blind with ace-jack.
All right. We are going to be flipping here, kids.
And Habenig makes the call with the small pocket pair.
Like Downton Abbey versus Treme, one of these two things from 2010 has a slight mathematical advantage.
How about 6-6 deuce?
No, 6.
I would take that. And trust a random 6.
Not a terrible flop for 6s.
Not at all. Boat.
Hoyos can still win with an ace-jack or the case 3 on the river.
Deuce.
It's a 10 and we lose. Miguel Hoyos in 4th place, cashes out for $66,105. And Matthias Habenig increases his advantage.
It's here, sorry. Yeah, it's here, right?
It's got to be tough to contain your joy, right? I like to see the big smile on Habernig's face there. Like, what can you do? You're just absolutely mashing in, you know, the biggest poker tournament in the country.
So Habernig's sweatshirt has been bothering me throughout this final table. He looks like one of those green things in Minecraft that explode. What are they called? Creepers?
I didn't know Minecraft had explosions.
Yeah. Creepers blow up.
How good does Habernig run? We're about to find out. This is really going to be the decider. If he wins this flip also.
115.
Not to say that this has to be a flip. I just mean, you know, if this run out favors ace 10.
Always an ace on the desk. It is not looking good for the Snowmans. Num num.
Dude, I wish I could run for like 5 minutes how this dude is run in this event. Oh, and you just get bet into. I feel like no matter what you do here, like the hand's over. I don't think there's any room for creativity here. Just a call.
145.
This hand going to the turn. And it is the Jack of Hearts, and I hope for Martin's sake that he just shuts down now. It's been checked to him. He checks behind.
Yeah.
And the river is another ace. Barry Greenstein makes an appearance. Hello, Latam Barry.
And Habernig gonna go for value. Should not get a call. I mean, it's just a bad run out for eights. There's no reason to get hero-y here. Like, yeah, sometimes you're going to get bluffed, and that's it. You're just going to get bluffed sometimes. But most of the time, it's really tough for Habernig to have nothing here. Good fold. Oh, nice one. Barry Green Sweaterstein. Son of a perch yet again. I think the next time we do PokerStars Retro, we should chroma key something onto that green sweatshirt.
Só conversando, explica pra ele só que a gente não tá falando nada sobre o jogo, nada sobre...
Ih, eu sou falador, não tem como não. Raise. 110.
Ace deuce. Vardanega says raise.
Jack 9. Beautiful hand. Beautiful big blind hand. Absolutely no shot of a fold pre-flop. I mean, a deuce is pretty good here.
Yeah.
Got to be pretty happy about making any sort of pair at all. Just have to hope your opponent doesn't have a queen. Although, Habernig can put you in a really bad spot here if he decides to get out of line, and it looks like maybe he is.
It's 30?
Well, interestingly,
All right.
Habernig just calls.
Yeah, a little float here. Lots of backdoors. The Jacks and Nines live, obviously, and I think you can be reasonably comfortable that your Jacks and Nines are live.
Yeah, and hoping that Vardanega now checks the turn.
Correct. And, you know, you can really just hammer
210.
your opponent with your big stack, but just gives it up. Also, I think perfectly viable. You know, we haven't seen Habernig get out of line. We haven't seen him, you know, just try to flex that muscle, and that's been working out.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to say what the optimal strategy is without knowing the exact stack sizes, which, by the way, is a bonus, a benefit of watching those Sunday Million streams, right? We know everybody's stack size all the time.
Well, we've got an all in here, Joe. Blinds have gone up to 30,000, 60,000, and Alex Martins has shoved the button with King 9. Matthias Habernig has Ace-Jack in the big blind.
So sick.
Makes the call. Martins is at risk. And if Ace-Jack holds, we're going to be going heads up here in Florianopolis in August of 2010.
These other two guys should have done a deal for, like, better than third place money for each of them. I just don't think either one of them has much of a prayer.
Ace of diamonds.
When you miss this flop, it's over.
10 of diamonds.
It's just over.
Alex Martins needs a king or a 9 on the river.
No, nix Nobby. Deuce.
Blank, and that's it. We're going heads up. Alex Martins out in 3rd place, cashing for $89,530. It is Habenig versus Vardenega, and as you said, Joe, it would have been ridiculous had Habenig not got heads up, and he comes into that heads up battle with a big advantage. 5.5 million, plays 1.6 million. Habenig, the qualifier from Austria, playing the local, Dejan Vardenega from Brazil.
Huge chip lead, 3-1 or whatever it is, but I feel like 1.6 isn't short.
Yeah, with the
60,000 big blind, yeah.
30,000, 60,000, and the difference in prize money is more than 100K. 146 for second, 250,000 for the winner.
Obviously, I don't know how this plays out, James, but many of these stops, I've been a little jealous to have not been a part of it. This heads-up match is something I think I could have missed live. Like, this just feels like it could go, it might have gone super late into the night. Just with the size, just the actual literal size of the stacks.
I think it depends how aggressive and how well, I guess, Habenig runs. We've got an ace-king 4 flop.
Oh.
And Vardenega does not have a lock on. I don't know what's going on with these graphics. He does not have 100% equity.
We know that no one else folded a 7.
And now we get the 4 on the turn, which hasn't been dealt yet. Habenig's equity increases. What on earth?
This is awesome. But let's focus on the real story here, which is this is a sick cooler. Like, this is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, if Vardenega doubles up here, that takes it from 1.6 to 3.2, and that takes Habenig from 5.5 to, whatever that is, 4.1.
Okay.
That's
2 things to say, guys. The graphics may have disappeared. Yeah. The hand is still very much in progress. The river card has not even been dealt yet. We are on the turn. I apologize that the graphics back in 2010 with this particular production were an unmitigated disaster.
That's pretty wild. This went on TV like this. This isn't just
disgusting.
It's a live stream.
Disgusting.
Like, do you think that no one noticed, or that they did and they just didn't care? Like, when the people did commentary on this, did they say, like, hey, by the way, the river card hasn't happened
I think it
yet?
was
like,
noticed because you may remember, Joe, that we had someone new come into the team in 2012 who was basically sent down to this part of the world to sort out the coverage of the LAPT to get their live streams and TV shows up to snuff.
Have a word.
I'm sure she did, and I'm sure things improved.
Anyway, really sick cooler here. And I mean, just look at how much time it takes just to physically move all these chips.
Yeah, this
Poor
could
dealers.
Be a huge swing. Well, we knew that was coming.
I don't know what's worse, that the card appeared early and it was right, or if the card appeared early and it's wrong.
Either way, it's just...
I feel like the correct card coming early is worse.
All
there it is.
And a call, and that is a full double up for Dejan Vardenega. And that, I think, is what is so frustrating about the error with that hand, Joe, is you're right. This is huge. It was a ridiculous cooler. We see a full double up. It changes the dynamic of this heads-up battle. It was genuinely hard to follow because someone didn't do their job properly and no one caught it.
All we're talking about is the graphics goof instead of how momentous this hand is.
Exactly.
$825.
So the dynamic changes. Still a huge chip lead for Matthias Habenig, but one more hand like that and things turn around.
Yeah, it's a much different game now, even with just the one double up. That's your gimme. That's your mulligan. That's the only one you can do that doesn't hurt you that bad. Now it's for real. Now it's for the chip lead. You get doubled through again. I was wondering when we were going to have a Jack 4 Queen 3 showdown.
Sorry. I need to see that again.
Yeah, what was that? Why are we strapping guys all of a sudden?
Randomly, we get a chip count with a bizarre sound effect in the middle of a hand. You know, we've talked before on these retro streams about being able to get into a time machine and go back and actually play in these events and take advantage of how bad people were back then. I want to get in a time machine, go back and fire everyone involved in this TV production.
Sorry, but did the chip stacks they showed there, did it show Vardanega as actually leading?
No, it's 3.9 playing 3.2.
Okay, I thought it was 3.1, 3.2. Thank you. Is this like Mystery Theater where you rip on bad poker broadcasts? Yes, thank you for your question.
Habenig betting 235,000 on this King 9-7 flop.
Oh, look at these two. Look at these two getting weird with each other. Slapping each other with the hot mops.
Wow, Vardanega raises the flop, gets a fold.
Probably not going to be enough to take the chip lead, but still more momentum.
Yeah.
You know, and I said exactly this, James. I said, you know, you can't really... It would have been an absolute travesty for Habenig to not make it to heads up.
Oh, that noise.
But once you get there, it's anything. Anything can happen.
Okay, so Vardanega now has the slight chip advantage, Joe. He does have the chip lead. It's like there's a mosquito in the room.
I'm used to being the most annoying sound in the room, so...
Always coming 7, and it's top pair for Habenig. Wow. How his fortunes have changed. This heads-up battle not going the Austrians' way, and he may lose another big pot here to Vardanega.
Yeah, it feels like it's just a matter of how big, honestly, at this point. I mean, you're pretty happy to get more chips in with top pair on this board.
Vardanega raising with trips.
I don't think there's much of a point to raising your queen. It looks like Habenig agrees.
3 of diamonds. So now we have a flushy paired board. Wardenegger checks.
Wow.
Habenig
just puts a little worm on the line. Throwing off some false tells here.
390,000. I think Habenig's onto something here. Wardenegger did not like the diamond on the turn.
Raise.
No. I think he's faking it. Yeah.
He's raising? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Look at this. Insta-fold. Great laydown here. Really nice, quick fold. Effortless.
Incredible. I can't quite believe how badly things have gone during this heads-up battle for Matthias Habenig. To have had command of this final table throughout, to have been in control of the late stages of this MTT, to come into heads-up with that dominant lead and to see it disappear, and to now be the player who's at risk. 2.3 million. Again, to highlight your point, Joe, a very playable stack. We're now at the 40-80 blind level, so around 30 bigs. But Wardenegger is now in the driving seat.
James, you can probably prove me wrong here easily with the blinds levels. My feeling is that this did not happen. This happened over a way longer period of time.
Well, I mean, bear in mind, they got heads up at the 30-60 blind level, and it's only just gone to 40-80. So,
okay, so it is short. It is a short period of time. Okay,
yeah, it is.
And, you know, nobody getting super out of line either, right? It's not like Habenig overplayed anything. It's not like, you know, they got into some weird raising war despite what is happening right now. You know, it's all just been pretty standard coolers.
That is true.
And the fact that Habenig didn't lose more on top pair versus trips is really impressive.
Well,
and also just a testament to how frustrating poker can be. You just do nothing wrong, and now you're like seeing this title slip away.
Yeah, David questioning the raise from Wardenegger, raising to get information with second pair. Habenig wisely making the call in position with top pair, and now Wardenegger loading up to bet again. Well, this could get Habenig some chips back, Joe.
Yeah. This is a case, in my opinion, of momentum getting the better of someone.
Positive tilt, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just, you know, like you're running hot. You've got all the momentum. You've got your opponent on the ropes. Habenig visibly frustrated, I would say. And this is exactly, you know, when you can see the finish line is oftentimes when people really just trip up, overplay their hands. Habenig made a great fold before, and you can see in this case, Wardenegger, you know, I think, in my opinion, was throwing off some false tells before. I think Habenig picked up on it. This time, Habenig manages to score big here on the river, right? Not folding now. Oh, and Wardenegger somehow checks.
Yeah, so Wardenegger with second pair and also had the straight draw. Is this waving the white flag of surrender? Now that Habenig's improved to two pair, he is looking to bet this river. 605,000. Wardenegger snap calls. Didn't even think about it.
Yeah, just exactly what we were talking about. Just didn't know how to put the brakes on, can see the end of this tournament. If I call and I'm right, it's over, and just, nope. Not even close. And I think we may see positive tilts turn into regular tilts. snatching defeat from the jaws of victory with this hand.
Still at the 40-80 blind level, and Habenig's got 3.86 million fitches.
Ficus.
Calls. So Habenig does have the chip advantage. That being said, it's almost evens Stevens. And look at Vardanega slow playing the aces, checks his option. And it's the straight draw for Habenig.
I think it's really easy to blame somebody for slow playing aces here. Let's say that this straight does come out, but heads up, like I don't know how many hands you expect to get action on like 3 bets, so I don't hate it, just kind of unlucky, I think. But obviously, Haberning's got to get there first. Vardanega does not strike me as a type that's going to fold aces at any point here, regardless of the run out.
Habenig calls the 130K and makes his straight on the river. Vardanega checks. Is this going to be another value bet and snap call?
I think so. I think it is. That's my read on the situation. There's plenty that aces are losing to here. And I think for this size, 350, it's like what, just a full pot bet?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it is a call with aces.
Well, at least he's thinking about it this time. At least he's taking his time over this decision.
Like, Habernig's polarized with this pot bet, right? So it's going to be tens. There aren't a lot of missed draws either, but I don't know. It just feels like you've got 3-point-something million. You've got an overpair. I don't think you can really value bet a jack full pot. So you're beating a jack, but the jack wouldn't bet this amount. So what really are you beating? Queens, kings, also probably not polarizing in this way. So is it a total air ball, or are you up against an 8 or, you know, king, queen, or 10?
Makes the call. Habenig shows the straight, and he has reclaimed the big chip advantage over Dayan Vardanega. Has to show the aces, has to show them.
I mean, that's a man after my own heart. I got to make sure, even though it's on TV, I got to make sure everyone in that moment knows I just had aces cracked heads up for a $250,000 first place prize. I don't care if they're going to see it later or not. This has been a really cool heads-up match, though. One of my favorite heads-ups in a long time.
Yeah, and certainly more than a few hands, but not epically long yet. And Habenig raising with ace-10 suited. Vardanega with ace-7 offsuit.
He's not going to have the patience. I think Vardanega is tapped.
Vardanega announced re-raise, right? This is a 3-bet coming. Yep, yeah. 395,000 total.
Yeah, I don't think he has the discipline to get away from this if Habenig puts another bet in. And I think if I can read Vardanega's frustration, Habernig can also. So just a flat.
And I guess we're going to see a flop.
Simple Depone says Vardanega is so tilted his face is full of rage you can see it from the camera. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I do think that there's
my
oh,
God.
come on.
Ace 10-7. This is the cooler to end all coolers, and it's probably the cooler that will end this heads-up battle.
Yeah. This, I mean, it really has been the heads-up of coolers. Started with a cooler that won Vardanega a huge pot. Slight cooler later on, but this one is, yeah, this is
cooler
the final cooler.
is likely to end the tournament. This cooler is likely to give Matthias Habernig victory. Vardanega bets out 480,000.
This is really unfortunate. You know, I'm teeing up how Vardanega is like probably going to blow this tournament by talking about how tilted he probably is, and it's not that at all. It's just unlucky.
Just the call from Habernig, taking this hand to the turn. 1.77 million in the middle. Queen of Diamonds and Habernig now with 92% equity. Vardanega checks the action to his opponent.
Wow. Thinks he's trapping. Thinks he's trapping.
A bet,
shove here.
an all-in,
Yep.
and a call. And Vardanega is drawing extremely thin. There are a few opportunities.
Don't be Varga negative. Be Varga positive.
Habernig on the verge of victory.
Yeah. Understandable, brother.
Good hand, man. Thanks.
Save that handshake for after the river. Oh, just Sarah Herring.
You have to scream, man.
Jack on the river means it's over, and we have our champion. It is the Austrian qualifier, Matthias Habernig, who takes down the Florianopolis leg of Season 3 of the Latin American Poker Tour. He claims the first prize of $250,000. Dejan Vardanega, the local, the Brazilian, cashes for 146K as the runner-up. Give this man his trophy.
And you're forgetting the real prize is being congratulated by PokerStars Team Pro, Victor Ramden.
And you get a big comedy check.
Oh, man. When did we ever stop doing the comedy checks?
The final results. Habernig out on top. And do you know what is so weird, Joe? What is so strange is, just to touch on it one more time, when we first saw Habernig, he was so out of place compared to the rest of the table. And we said, he's the Dominic Nietzsche of this event. He's the European qualifier who's basically just going to completely slice his way through the field. And sure enough, he made it to heads up. Despite those early coolers, regained the advantage and closed it out. Got the win. Became an LAPT champion.
Yeah, just a player that you could sort of peg that was going to be playing head and shoulders above the rest of the field. And other than a few hiccups, heads up, just had the run good to go along with it. And as we know, that combination, pretty much unstoppable.
So that brings today's retro to an end. There is one more retro stream to come, but let's just go through in chronological order, guys, what's going to be happening in the coming 7 days. The first thing to say is there is a new podcast, which we dropped just before we came live today. So make sure you check out episode 217 of the Poker in the Ears podcast featuring Kim Caramelli. We mentioned on that podcast and on today's stream that Joe is outside of the arena right now. Joe is in San Diego. I'm sure, Joe, that when we touch base on Monday night, you'll have some stories from San Diego. Save a few for the podcast, but we want to know how it goes at the live tables there at the event you're at right now. On Monday night, Joe and I will be joined by Griffin Benger for Cards Up coverage of this week's Sunday Million. That stream starting at 7:30 p.m. Central European Time. And then on Thursday of next week, there will be the final retro stream. We're going to be in Argentina, I believe. The thing I know for sure is there's another Team Pro Challenge. There's another one of those crazy cash games, Joe.
Yes, I am here for it. Well, I won't be here literally for it, but, you know, metaphorically here for it.
So make sure you join us for that. Should be a lot of fun as we close out PokerStars Retro. But before that, join us on Monday night for the Sunday Million. But for now, from Joe Stapleton and me, James Hartigan, it's goodbye.